Rock 102.1 KFMA Speed presents. All right, so we're recording this segment, but I know Mari's still putting on her makeup, so I put a little graphic over your face. So there you go. You're protected.
Oh, look at that eyeball.
Yeah, there you go. So you are safe for now. Have you been following this drama that's been happening between Blake Lively and her former co-star of the film? It ends right now.
Baldini, right, or something like that. Yes.
It Ends With Us. That's the name of the movie. It came out last year. And then what's interesting about this, to start off, when that movie came out, initially, Blake Lively started receiving a lot of negative press because of her attitude and behavior doing press circuits. They were accusing her of diva-like behavior. And I remember this vividly because we did talk about it and address it. She did come off kind of, I don't want to say, well, I'll just say kind of bitchy, right, in scenarios. But then it just recently, over the past couple weeks, it has been revealed that Blake Lively accused the co-creator Justin Baldoni of, somewhat like sexual harassment, creating like a hostile work environment, everything about it. They had to have an intimacy coordinator on set, and Blake Lively had her management team come up with a list of stipulations, aka demands, of what would have to be done moving forward, because she took a moment to take a break from making a movie, saying, hey, this is uncomfortable for me. And then when she came back, she's like, okay, here's the deal. No more sex scenes that are outside of the script. No improv sex scenes, right? Sex scenes.
That's a thing?
Oh, yeah, apparently it was.
Improv sex scene.
Yeah,
Let's do it, guys.
Exactly. An intimacy coordinator had to be on the set at all times to go over in detail exactly what would happen and what wouldn't happen, so you couldn't just wing it. And then, of course, no comments about sex and other different behavior that would be deemed inappropriate. Now, on the surface, you're like, okay, this makes sense. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable while at work, especially when they're naked and have like 40 people around eating catering. And then this guy's like, what would be fun if I pull your hair and smack your ass? Be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not in the script, bro. Well, Justin Baldoni, I don't know much about him, all right? But reading into him, apparently he has a podcast. And he identifies as like a feminist, but his behavior behind the scenes seems to contradict that a lot. Now, Blake Lively's lawyers has hit back over feud claims. Justin's lawyers said they have bullying evidence, so they're going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Blake Lively's legal team denies her legal moves against It Ends With Us. The director, Justin Baldini, who also starred in the movie, all this stemmed from creative differences. That's what they say. Her team says Lively is noting serious claims of sexual harassment and retaliation. All right. Now, they accuse Baldoni and the studios of unlawful actions, including retaliatory astroturfing for her raising concerns.
Ooh, what's that?
That's a word I'd have to definitely Google.
Astroturfing?
Yeah, what is it?
It's just kind of making it up. It's not like, it's like almost the opposite of like a grassroots. It's astroturfing. You're creating something out of
yeah.
nothing. Okay.
Yeah, well, and let's see. Baldoni's lawyer called the allegations false and accused Lively of orchestrating a media attack. What's interesting to me, though, is the media attack that I saw publicly was actually against Blake Lively.
Initially, yeah.
Initially, right? So what if they kind of orchestrated it and kind of put her in scenarios to be looking bad, or did she put herself in that scenario? It's weird. Now, as far as the allegations of Blake Lively being a bully on set, the director of the movie, It Ends With Us, says that he can prove it. He went on to say there's a backstory. They say that Blake engaged in a pattern of bullying and threats to take over the movie. And they added that none of this will come as a surprise because consistent with her past behavior, Blake Lively used other people to communicate those threats and bully her way to get whatever she wanted. So basically calling her a diva.
Yes.
Yes. Now, with the stuff that's on the surface, what side are you leaning towards?
I don't know, man. It's tricky.
It is tricky.
Super tricky. And she's got Ryan Reynolds in her back pocket, too.
It's funny that you say that, too, because a lot of people are like, well, why isn't Ryan Reynolds speaking up or defending his wife? But there are some people that point out in Deadpool and Wolverine and the deleted scenes, kind of was.
Really?
Yeah. Now, first off, Blake Lively was in Deadpool and Wolverine. She played Ladypool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't
I
know
didn't know
that. I
this.
thought I recognized that body, but yeah, that was Lady Pool. Now, of course, Ryan Reynolds was many of the Deadpool that we saw in the multiverse, including Nice Pool. Well, in the deleted scenes, a lot of people are pointing out there are some things that Nice Pool said that seem to be direct shots against Justin Baldoni.
Wow.
Yeah, and here's because Baldoni co-hosts a podcast called The Man Enough, right? And which explores the messages of masculinity and how they show up in relationships, body image, and so much more, right? So in a scene, Nice Pool says, "Oh my goodness, wait until you see Lady Pool, who was played by Blake Lively. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too. You can't even tell." And then, all right, let's just get on. All right, so we're gonna play some new music from 3 Days Grace here in a minute. Playing Green Day on the air, and we're live on the air. Go ahead and continue our algorithm, the Boost algorithm. Mari, smiles all day long. Mari is a superstar on the TikTok because of her confession that she loves chocolate cream pies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I showed her. I told her what was going to happen because I told her that perverts ruin things, and she didn't believe me. And I said McDonald's needs to change the name from the strawberry and cream pies to like eliminate the cream pies, right? And because you can't say it anymore. Unfortunately, porn has ruined that out of her vernacular.
Simple thing.
She was disagreeing, and as she was going through all the flavors of cream pies she loves, she comes across chocolate cream pies, and she realized that actually sounds a little dirty. And
Did it hit her then?
yeah, that's
Yes.
when it hit her. Yeah.
I did.
And then I posted on TikTok and got a bunch of views on it and a couple comments. And what's her at? Where does she live? Yes, I told you. Perverts be out there. They're on the internet for sure.
Wow.
They usually have profile pictures that aren't them, so they could sleuth away and then say aggressive things like "Show me your feet." And
How much?
do you consider
Touche.
yourself to have nice feet?
I do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
I would totally sell my feet pictures.
Would you?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you know what? Then consider that because I know that as the boys get older and you want to get them in nice schools
Yes.
and other things.
Mama's working hard to get you into education.
Only feet. I'm telling you, I feel like I could be a manager in that scenario. I
No,
feel like
actually, it's harder. I signed my sister up, right? And
yeah.
I took pictures of her feet and from the Christmas tree.
Wait,
and
are
we
you
made them all
serious?
nice. Yes, I seriously did this.
Legitimate about that.
Because she wanted to make some extra income. And I was like, oh, pictures of your feet. You got nice feet.
Yeah.
And she made nothing.
I don't think she promoted it well enough. You got to
Okay.
do a little bit on Twitter. You got to
Oh.
step on things.
And you like feet a little bit. You've talked about it
I have
before.
a foot appreciation, but not a fetish.
Just like that's dipping your toes into it, right? Get the pun?
Yes. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We're live on the podcast broadcast. When we return, before we welcome Herb Stratford, we got to have a little fun.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a game called Peen or Ween. Now,
Oh.
in 2024, there was a lot of things shoved in either Peens or Weens, and I want to see if you guys can tell the difference between something that would fit into a Peen
All right.
as opposed to something that would fit into a vagine.
Oh,
Peen
okay,
or
'cause you're
Ween.
calling it Ween. Is
Oh,
that,
yeah, no, it's Peen or vagine.
That's why I was so confused.
Yeah, I
confused
confuse myself too. I'm trying to come up with like clever names and slang and still be immature at the same time. That's the balance I try to work on. And how did I label it on there?
It's like
Ween or Peen? No, so that's the same
No,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Vagine, though, works. Vagine or
yeah,
Peen?
yeah.
Jean.
Peen
Just
or
call it
vagine?
Jean.
Peen or
Jean.
vagine?
No, vagine. Peen or vagine coming up next after new music for 3 Days Grace. Keeping the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. Join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. So, okay, what if I asked ChatGPT? Because then, I'm looking for different streaming services because I'm spending $90 a month.
Yeah, you're telling me about that.
On
That's a lot.
StreamYard. It's stupid, right? So I started looking into different various platforms that provide the same type of service for a lot less. And of course, I utilize ChatGPT on this. It's just quickly growing to be like the new Google. So if I ask it, how do I successfully, excuse my slow typing, sell feet pictures and promote it well? All right. According to ChatGPT, selling feet pictures is a niche market.
Okay.
And success depends on knowing your audience, creating high quality content, and promoting yourself effectively while maintaining personal safety and privacy, of course. Here are the steps to get you started. First off, understand your market, research demand, explore platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, and OnlyFans to see how others are marketing feed content. right? And you basically copy that. Identify your niche. So people may prefer like pedicured feet, natural, artistic, or specific footwear. So when you were posting pictures of your sister's feet, and where can we find these, by the way?
Oh, they're gone. She deactivated the account.
That's too bad. Did she send you the feet pics? You take them and they're on
No,
your
this is
camera
like
roll?
2
They're
years
on the
ago.
internet. They're
Okay.
always out there.
Yeah. I'm sure we can find it. Anyways, were they just like, did she have pedicured feet?
Yeah, no. Mhm.
Okay. Were they close up? Were they good shots? Or were they a
Yeah.
little blurry?
I mean, it was low light, right? Not
Yeah,
my
see-
best shot.
No, lighting is so important. It's so essential. Even when it comes to this, video podcast and doing the clips, I know there's some clips that don't perform as well because when I edit it together, it's kind of a little blurry. And I need, it to kind of be HD. We live in an HD world.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to like look at the picture and think to yourself, I could suck on those right now.
Like I'm right there and I can smell the funk.
Yeah, so create high quality content, okay? Invest in equipment, focus on presentation, and experiment with angles. That's the three things. Protect your privacy. There, watermark photos, things like that. Promote yourself. So social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, teasers for engagement. You didn't do any of that.
No.
I know. So, if you can't post like sexy teasers on social media, and Twitter is like one of those things. If I did hashtag, in fact, actually, I'll do it right now. If I search feet.
He's going to do it. I would also add to that, think outside the shoebox.
Outside the shoebox.
Try something different.
Well, we did Christmas tree.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
It was
Okay, so
festive.
I
Some stockings.
I search feet. The first thing I see, I can't even show on the podcast, but I will show you. You ready? Fair warning, though.
Oh,
If we weren't friends, this would be a hostile work environment. Okay. So do I have permission to show you this?
Are we
have
going to get HR
permission.
involved for this?
No, stop.
Possibly not.
So
I give you my permission.
okay, all right, here we go. Real quick. This is the first thing that came up when I put feet into Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Damn, I don't-
Graphic.
Thanks, man.
What was your reaction? Rock on 2x1 campaign. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. What was your verbal reaction there, Emil?
I want to see that crap.
Yeah, okay, fair. That's fair. So we were going through, what ChatGPT would recommend if somebody wanted to sell feet pictures, and where Mari went wrong in trying to pimp out her sister's feet, which apparently she has pretty nice feet. Am I wrong?
Nope.
Yeah, there you go. It must run in the family, huh? Run.
All kinds of good puns this segment. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, enough of the puns. I want to play a game. The game is Peen or Vagine. Now, here's the thing. We live in a weird world. We already know this. The Consumer Product Safety Commission compiles data each and every year. And at the end of the year, they release things like what things did we get stuck in our peen or vagine, right? And so, I could separately go down the list, or I could turn it into a fun game. So I'm going to give you, an example of something, and I'll go one by one. We'll go back and forth. It'll
Okay.
kind of be speed round, and you say peen or vagine, okay? Simple as that.
Okay.
Okay, so first thing is an AirPod. AirPod Emil.
Vagine.
Incorrect. That's peen. Yes. All right, next one. Pen cap. Mari.
Peen.
Peen is correct. All right. Emil. Plastic triceratops.
Jeez. Vagine?
Vagine is correct.
All right, thank God.
Yes. Okay, Mari. 4-inch metal tube.
Vagine.
No, that's peen.
It's called sounding.
Yeah, everybody knows that vagine needs more than 4 inches. All right, back to you, Emil. Plastic fork.
Oh, peen.
Peen is correct.
Oh.
You say that so confidently.
I could see somebody doing that, trying to eat with it too.
Oh.
Cochinos, man.
But have you seen it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sure you.
All right,
Look
all
it
right.
up.
All right, here we go. Mari, coffee stir.
Peen.
Correct. Yes. All right, Emil, shot glass.
Oh, vagine.
Correct. All right, Mari. Let's see. Spork.
Peen.
No, that's vagine.
Oh.
See how fork is for peen, but a spork is for vagine.
What?
Yeah, vagine. I know.
Mind blown.
I know. Should be. All right. Bar of soap. Emil.
Vagine?
Yeah, well, it's super clean. That is a machine.
This is
All right.
painful.
All right, it's super painful. But again, these are all things that were stuck in our orifices in 2024, according to the data that was compiled by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. So it is their job to giggle while compiling this
They're
information.
doing the hard work for us.
Yes, and then releasing it to the general public each and every year. All right, Mari, peen or vagine, pencil.
Peen.
Incorrect.
What?
Yes, that was a vagine. How do you do that? I don't even know. But is she my soulmate? Possibly. All right, next one. Emil, keys.
Peen?
That is incorrect.
Oh.
That is vagine. Just imagine, everyone loses their keys every now and then. It's so maddening. Like, where did I put? You're patting down your pockets and stuff. And you're like, oh, yes.
It's like how people used to wear them on their belt loop back in the day, like the emo kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can just put it in there.
Oh, wow.
No.
Little
And that's
pocket.
like the new thing.
Extra pocket.
And I know, I think I've heard a woman say before, probably like in a movie or something, that the
Right.
peen was the key to her heart.
Oh, well.
In this
They say
case,
that.
the keys were the keys to her heart.
Because it was in the peen.
Romantic.
No, it was in the vagine.
Oh, okay.
You're right. Yeah. All right. What about finger puppet, Mari?
Vagine.
That is correct. So funny too. So, without getting too graphic on that, it's great to role play.
Yeah. I can see it.
All right, and then final one. Let's see. Emil, let's say rolled up magazine page.
Oh, jeez. That's going to be a peen. I have a feeling it's horrible.
100%.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
horrible,
what?
man.
It
What kind
really
of magazine?
was?
It's like
Yes.
Time Magazine or something.
That's what I was going to ask you. What magazine do you think it was?
Just like one of those thick guys. Time Magazine. Or
That was a peen.
That was a peen.
A magazine piece of paper.
Yes, impressive, disturbing, and of course, why?
Why?
I don't know, man. A lot of people out there need therapy for sure. A couple things that just honorable mention because I think it would be a little too obvious, but sometimes not. In fact, actually, let's see. Honorable mention goes to a bag of soil, vagine, dry erase marker, vagine, curling iron, vagine. Let's hope it was off.
yeah.
Oh.
Candle, of course, vagine. Climbing peg, yeah, that's vagine. Domino, Peen.
Peen.
yes,
Peen and the domino.
Domino.
and the peen. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah, brutal. Screw, peen,
Oh my gosh.
thermometer. Yeah, you gotta know what the
Literally?
temperature is internally. I think he's doing it wrong. You can stick it under your tongue,
Yeah.
but not after. Glue as well, and then someone took a piece of plastic-coated paper from a milk container, rolled it tightly, wrapped it up into tape to the size greater than a crayon,
Methodical about
and then
this.
peen. Yes, and then another long answer was a patient reports wearing an enhancement apparatus that became stuck after getting it on. So what it was somebody was wearing. A guy was wearing an enhancement apparatus, and then that
okay.
got stuck. Vagine.
Mm.
Yes. All right. That's all I could do. I mean, honestly, I was tiptoeing around the verbiage on all that. I'm sure we'll probably still get an email from my boss after this, but that was Peen and Vagine. Let's hit the reset. Keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. When we come back, PG Talk with Herb Stratford. We're going to be talking about what movies and releases are coming to your streaming services, recap the Challenge 40 finale, and so much more. You can join us, youtube.com/BeVegan, or keep it right here. All right. And then see, I'm getting... I was like, I'm getting a message and stuff. Maybe Lily. Hey, Brad, open enrollment ends 1 week. Secure a health insurance plan, blah, 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 blah. So I'm still getting those, even though I already secured a health insurance plan. But, yeah, Peen and Vagine.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, I apologize. More uncomfortable than me showing what comes up when you put feet into Twitter?
Yeah, that's whatever.
There was another one that said, was roughhousing with her husband who lifted her up and accidentally dropped her on a hot dog cooker.
What?
Yeah.
It's a hot dog cooker. I'm gonna look this guy up.
Accidentally?
I know, right? Where are they at? It's fun having messing around in the kitchen, but like, get the hot dog cookers out.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's see what this looks like.
Another statement here on this, as Herb Stratford comes in, place a device that has a vaginal sex toy and anal portion, which are connected by a rubber cord. Both in the V were unable to retrieve. They did have some alcohol this evening. Do me a favor, Mari, switch with Herb Stratford because we're gonna do, full screen. Yeah, let's see. I just know how to sell those picks for sure. Oh, a couple more things as we're, working out, getting everyone situated here. When it came to selling feed picks, they said monetize your content, right? Back to promoting yourself. So use hashtags strategically, like feet picks for sale, foot fetish, or feet goals to increase visibility and engage in your audience. You kind of type with them, be like, hey, I'm messaging you, typing with my toes. That really gets foot fetish guys going. And then, of course, monetize. You got to set prices, offer packages, and explore additional revenue streams like getting a real job. So those are some of the suggestions from ChatGPT on how to properly sell feet picks. Yeah.
Thanks, AI.
Yeah.
It's just sad that it doesn't have feet itself to do this.
I know.
Another part of the human experience that I will never get to know.
Sweetest Nightmare says, I have a sincere question. Is there a way we can open a really big shelter to get people off the street? Short answer on that, probably not. It's tough. I've asked Herb to, answer or solve the homeless problem here in Tucson for years. I said, you dress well enough to think they'll look like you have answers for this, and nothing.
Nothing, bupkis.
Not
That's
damn
true.
thing.
Sorry.
All right, real quick, let's talk about the challenge before we get into all these things. You saw the finale last night?
I did. I was so excited.
This is how he says it. It's great.
Yeah, because I got spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, cover your ears. But I think Jordan is just the guy's won 5 times. He has one hand.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Jordan does have one
What's
hand.
your excuse, man? You can't beat the guy with one hand. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Well, in this situation, it was a swimming challenge, right?
Yeah, all swimming. So much swimming.
So many miles and miles of swimming. It seems like you're like, oh my God, no way. Just to give you a reference of what he's talking about, I'm going to show you Jordan and his one hand. So he has a handicap. Now, he's won 5 out of 10 challenges he's been on. He also won the monumental seasons 30, seasons 40, and world championships. So these are things. This is Jordan right here, who now people are referring to as the GOAT. And I will show you a picture. He's a good-looking dude. He's got a smoking hot girlfriend. Oh, well, we'll talk about this because Jordan is a playboy for sure. But this is Jordan. So this is what he looks like, all gussied up, right? Good-looking guy. And this is his hand.
He's got some of a hand.
Yeah, he's got a thumb, basically.
Yeah,
He's got
like
a thumb.
the part where he can paddle with if he swims.
And he's trying to become a professional race car driver.
He is.
Which interesting. So
yeah.
he won $400,000 last night. So
He did,
big deal.
yes. Again, he's winning when it counts, right? So that's what the grades do, right? When the game is on the line and it's time to step up, he's been stepping up. And the swimming challenge with one hand was no problem for him. He's a triathlete.
Okay, so he's used to.
Yeah, so he's one of those guys who's been an overachiever. He reminded me of my friend Joe, who sadly passed away. But he's one of those guys that does more with less.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joe had one leg. And I didn't know this for fucking ever. I was friends with Joe for a couple years before, like, one day we're sitting around the living room, we're all getting high, and I look and I was like, oh, it's a new tattoo? And it was like a cross on his leg. And I was like, man, that's shiny. Then I realized it was a sticker, and I'm like, oh, God. And it turns out, Joe's leg stopped at the knee. So he got ran over when he was a child.
Oh, my God.
Right? And so he had to have a prosthetic his entire life. But he was playing football. He walked across America. Across America.
Really?
Yes, dude.
Good for him, man.
Legitimately, as part of like a church thing. He did things. He was all buff, swole. He was married to my best friend, Corey. And, again, the example of doing far more with one leg than I can even imagine with one
Half
leg.
of us don't do anything with like fully functioning bodies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good for them, though.
Yeah.
I know. So, so Jordan won, and then there was a little bit of shenanigans that fans are calling about the karma vote and Rachel tying with, the winner, Jenny, who won hands down, was like dominant in the final, and her seemingly being happy about splitting $400,000. Now, see, I knew these results before it even aired, right? Mm-hmm. So I kept it to
And
myself.
thank you for not spoiling.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
I hope you enjoyed the journey.
I did.
Now, I still enjoyed the journey, even though I knew what was going to happen every step of the way, but I wanted to see how it would play out. What I didn't know is that they would make they screwed over a couple people here because the challenge producers kind of fucked up on this. So the grand prize is $1 million total. And first place for the men would get $400,000, and then they said first place for women would get $400,000, right? And then there would be like $50,000 for second place, $15,000 for.
No, it's 175 and then 25, I think.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah. So second is still not bad.
Yeah.
Third is sort of embarrassing.
Right. But this is what happened. Okay, so first place men was pretty cut, clear. Jordan won. Everyone knew that. They were just battling it out for second place, and then who was it? Help me out. Second place men was
Derek.
Derek,
Yeah.
who's from Scottsdale.
Yeah, and then Bananas got third.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. All right. But here's how challenge producers screwed over the winner of the female side. So Jenny won hands down. She pretty much won first place, 6 out of 7 checkpoints. They had karma points, which was all the contestants who got eliminated got to rate the people left in the game 1 through 5. Well, Rachel was super popular because she's an OG, been around since like day one. So they all gave Rachel a 5. So she ended up tying, even though she got third place. She would have got third place officially. So her karma points bumped her up from third place to first place, and so she ties with the first place winner. So instead of giving them both $400,000, right? They say $200,000 apiece.
Split it.
But that's not the only screw over they did. Then that means the second place, which was Michelle, gets bumped down to third place. So they have no second place.
So they have no second place. Why don't they just figure out a
right? And so the third place. So then instead of Michelle getting second place payout, which in this case $175,000, which I think is a little incorrect, but that's okay. They bump her down to like, $50,000, and then instead of the girl Tori getting third place, they bump her down to fourth place to get nothing.
That's cheap, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the problem with the challenge finale and how they kind of screwed over the contestants. And we're back on the air, by the way, for those of you who are wondering what the hell we're talking about. Rock 102.1. KFMA. We got Herb Stratford live in studios. Herb and I are both massive fans of the challenge. Secretly, it's like a guilty pleasure. And Emil was surprised of how long the challenge has been around on the air.
Yeah, that's incredible, though. And it's really impressive that I've never heard of it until my wife told me about it. And then you told me it's been around since like the 90s. How did I miss this? I grew up on MTV, too. How did I miss this?
Yeah.
I guess you weren't watching
Maybe
MTV
I have,
late at night.
Some Alzheimer's. I should probably see a doctor.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew about it.
I'm sure you did.
Maybe you blocked it out.
Yeah.
At a certain point in our lives growing up, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, MTV was unavoidable, right?
Totally.
It was
Oh, yeah.
Destination TV with TRL and Real World, Road Rules, all the good stuff. It was the
Good
birthplace of reality television.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be the birthplace of reality competition television, and we still have that today. In fact, actually, some of the biggest shows out there are not only reality competition shows, they're fictional shows based on reality competition shows, a la Squid Games, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it all started from the challenge. So you got to recognize the original if you're going to be a fan of anything else, and that's a flex that I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
I have no affiliation whatsoever, but. Anyways, welcome back, Herb.
Well, thank you.
And Happy New Year to you.
And to you and everyone. Hope everybody had a good holiday. And I think we're all thinking we're glad that we don't live in Los Angeles right now. It's just
Yes.
really tragic. And I have some friends that have lost houses, and it's just terrible.
You do, right? So, really, have you talked to them? Their houses on there? Obviously, we went through the celebrity list, and I make it a point to be like, yes, these are the people that we know of, but keep in mind, there's thousands and thousands
yeah.
of
Oh,
people.
yeah.
They're just everyday working, hardworking Americans that have everything destroyed, and it just nonstop keeps going. Is this going to have a lasting effect on the industry itself, right?
Yeah, it will. I mean, and everything just even this week. I mean, they canceled a bunch of premieres. I was supposed to go to L.A. on Sunday for the Critics' Choice Awards. That got pushed back a couple weeks. I mean, everything is just, people are reeling. And I just think the landscape with over 1,000, possibly 2,000 structures destroyed, that community, that area of Santa Monica and everything, it's not gonna look the same ever.
No.
I mean, even 20 years from now, you're gonna have, and I don't even know. I've heard that it's really hard to get fire insurance in California, so
It is.
I don't even know if people can rebuild.
I know, that's the question.
know?
And if who's going to rebuild with this? Because, it's obviously like a fire-ridden area. Like, are they going to want to go through this again? It's kind of scary.
I guess I would say, to play devil's advocate here, all that shrubbery is kind of burnt down now. It's going to take years to rebuild to the point where it was going to be like an explosive disaster again, right? I would assume. But yeah. I mean,
But how are they going to rebuild? What's it going to look like? Are they going to try to put houses back, or is it going to be kind of a different landscape?
Yeah, with fire breaks and I mean, the thing too to think about, a friend of mine posted a map that showed, I think it was off of Zillow or something, and it showed a neighborhood. And I mean, all these houses were $3, $4, $5, $6 million houses.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
And if you think about the previous fire that sort of is comparable was the Paradise Fire, north of LA, way north. And that was a lot of trailer homes. And you know what I mean? Because it was up in the woods where you would expect some of that to happen. These homes, I mean, wow.
Yeah. like
know?
works of art when it comes to
Architecture.
Yeah.
And just the stuff they had in there, like Jay Leno has a ton of really nice cars.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Some one-of-a-kind stuff.
Yep.
Well, and what we were talking about off the air, we played a little clip of like James Woods crying about how he had his homeowner's insurance revoked just a couple months ago, and he knows a lot of people who had their homeowner's insurance revoked, fire insurance specifically. And I was telling Emil, these consultants, like, you remember the movie Along Came Polly, and Ben Stiller's job was to assess the risk, and as soon as the risk became a point where it was almost an inevitable, that's when they would say, sorry, we can't insure you.
Yeah.
I just tried to get car insurance. I was actually looking at different rates for my car, and many insurance companies won't insure my car because it's too much of a high risk for it to get stolen. But this was recently, basically, I said, it's not that it's even a conspiracy. It's that the science was right there, and they were like running the numbers to the point where they're like, okay, now this is inevitable, and we know this based off of an analytical scientific standpoint.
Yeah.
So we're pulling it away, but that's the unfair part. It's like, you know that it's going to happen.
Well, and they took your money all this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
No refund.
At least give a warning. Hey, like,
Yeah.
we're getting to this point where it's like becoming more of a liability
You
for
might
us.
want to think about,
looking other places because we might drop you in the future. This is just a warning.
Right.
But
or, you know, it's definitely going to happen. You're going to get screwed, but here's 25% back. Here you go. You know, because that's what and it happens time and time again. This is circles back to the Luigi argument in United Healthcare. It's the same thing. These insurance companies will continue to take. And as soon as they're in a position where they know they're going to have to pay, that's when all of a sudden, sorry, we can't help you. And it's like, wait a second. Why is this a necessity then? Why? What are we doing here? And so I think this is only going to be, this affected the wealthy, obviously, but not everyone that's a victim is going to be wealthy. This is only going to continue to add to this argument, and there's got to be some sort of regulation when it comes to these major
And this
insurance
is like
companies.
the possible silver lining with this is like a lot of bad things happen, but sometimes good things happen out of bad things, and maybe this brings a better conversation out of it to kind of like put that spotlight on what exactly are you guys doing. I know insurance, we pay for each other's insurance essentially, but like maybe there's a better way. You need to have a little bit more transparency and kind of give us a little help when we need it.
But also it comes down to, like, you know, the folks down in the Outer Banks and stuff, and the people that get flooded out every time there's a hurricane. It's like, at some point we've just got to be smarter about either the way we build stuff or, you know,
Where
what I mean?
we build stuff.
Like maybe
how or where.
hurricane-proof housing or something.
And I mean,
Totally, I get
you know, but yeah, I mean, I just would like to finish that by saying thanks, Obama, because somehow it's Obama's fault.
Is that a thing?
That's a joke.
Oh,
It's a joke.
remember that
He's
joke.
ready. He's ready for it. He's like, tell me why.
No, I was like, is something trending right now on
No.
Space?
All right. So, look, obviously, if you look at the news, you know, there's a lot of things to be empathetic about, and that will bring you down. If you need a distraction to escape to a movie theater this weekend, let's look at the first thing that we want to highlight. It's the return of Pamela Anderson, and her career is kind of back on top because she's starring in a movie that seemingly it was written just for her. Am I wrong?
You know, it's pretty perfect. It's called The Last Showgirl, and this is, you may have seen, she got a nomination for the Golden Globes, and she's really, and I think the
Try to scoot in a little bit to the camera. There you go. Yeah, keep going.
I'll snuggle up. That's
yeah, there you go.
So basically, the story: Pamela Anderson is she's a showgirl at like the old Vegas style, you know, the big feather headdresses and all that stuff. And the show is closing, and so she's really wrestling with it's who she is, you know, being a showgirl. And great supporting cast: Jamie Lee Curtis, Kiernan Shipka are other showgirls. Dave Bautista, get it?
Yeah.
Is like the manager of the show at this casino, and she's got an adult daughter that she's estranged from. It's a really, really solid film. And she, you know, my wife did say her voice is annoying, but I mean, it's
is it?
Yeah.
Well, she's playing a showgirl, so you would assume that's
know.
pretty realistic. Look how I mean, everybody ages, and this is the first time where I'm like, she almost looks like a young Betty White, which is an old Pam Anderson, right?
Well, and
Betty
you know,
White ever young?
and her new thing
Maybe not Betty
is,
White.
I don't know if you noticed, but her new thing, especially at the Golden Globes, she's like a makeup-free person.
Yeah.
So,
I noticed that, and she got a lot of flack for that, but I think it's kind of nice.
It is.
Her makeup artist died. And
Yeah.
then out of respect for her, she didn't want to do the same Pamela Anderson makeup.
There you go. Yeah, and you know what though? She's, I mean, always been naturally beautiful. So I mean, and she's aging appropriately too.
Right.
Oh,
She
she's
is.
amazing.
She
Yeah.
is. No, and she's just it's nice to see her get work and say, "Oh, you know what? She can do it." Like it's not just barbed wire, it's not Tommy Lee sex tape, it's not Baywatch. It's like she was given a role, and she actually kills it. And so if you have any interest in it, it's definitely worth seeing. It's in the mix, the SAG Awards, all that stuff. It's like she's done a really great job. And it's just sort of, it's sort of interesting. Women always have this trouble, too, about when they get to a certain age, people don't want them anymore, right? And so to find roles that highlight a mature woman and to kill it, I mean, that's like a unicorn. So congrats to her.
It just happened with Demi Moore, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
so there's a resurgence of 90s bombshells that are getting serious roles after all this time. And Demi Moore said in her acceptance speech that she was told she was a popcorn actress, and she kind of accepted that, right? Pamela Anderson, obviously same category. And now they're getting roles that I could see. This looks like it has the type of tone, if it is well received and does all right, that she may be in Demi Moore's position next year at the Golden Globes held in Texas.
It's possible.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, see? Yeah, they're moving, right? Yeah, so that's Pamela Anderson. That movie is called The Last Showgirl. I didn't see Dave Bautista at all in the trailer.
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Just for
okay.
a split second.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there buzz around his performance as well?
There hasn't been because the spotlight is so firmly on her.
Yeah.
But he's good in it and actually has a much bigger role than you think.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, The Last Showgirl, it hits theaters this weekend, starring an all-star cast. We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We got more things that are coming out to theaters and to your streaming service. We'll be back with Herb Stratford after music from Sublime on Rock 102.1 KFMA. Yeah, we were all over the place on that one, but all still on topic in a way, because we're still talking about L.A. and the industry, but then also the fires, and then, I'm excited to see this movie, to be honest with you, and I think she looks gorgeous at this point in her life.
Cool.
It's very well done. It really is. And I mean, it's just, it's a brave role to like sort of play a character who is like, struggling. I mean, it's not as sexy. It's not barbed wire. She's not a superhero. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's sort of wearing her scars and her wrinkles sort of, in a way she's sort of coming to accept that. And it is sort of the end of an era for the, like those shows. They don't have those shows anymore, right? I mean, it's all magicians or there's a few topless shows, but I mean, and she is in a topless show.
In fact, no, actually, we even did a little story. It was FML News saying that male strippers are hurting this year. Last year, bachelorette parties are doing less like adult entertainment and alcohol-fueled events and doing things like escape room and axe throwing and stuff. And I was like, is this like lesbian bachelorette parties? But I did more research, and no, these are actual bachelorette parties.
Wow.
Yeah. I know I'm crude.
The worm is turning. All right, very interesting.
Apparently, yeah. I guess. Anyways, okay. Tell me this real quick. Den of Thieves 2. Is this like a hit or miss?
If you watch the first one.
Okay, so let's get into this. We're gonna record this for tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Rock 102.1 KF, man. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. In studio, very special guest. We got film critic Herb Stratford joining us. And yesterday you were telling us about movies that we should go out to the movie theater to see. But I feel like you want to just give us a heads up of what's something that we might want to avoid if we're not a fan of this genre. I'm talking about Den of Thieves 2.
I wouldn't say avoid. I would just say, so it's interesting. Den of Thieves, the first Den of Thieves, just Den of Thieves, is streaming right now. So if you want to, sort of check it out and then go see Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, that's sort of an interesting opportunity. They really rushed this one in because it got such a strong review, such a strong positive impact overseas.
Okay.
This stars a couple people you're familiar with. O'Shea Jackson Jr., who, of course, is Ice Cube's son, who's been in some great stuff. And Gerard Butler, who is constantly trying to recapture his glory of 300 unsuccessfully.
Yes.
Anyway, the original film, Den of Thieves, was basically sort of a Heat knockoff. You remember Heat, one of my favorite crime movies ever.
Everybody's.
Such a great film. So Gerard Butler plays sort of the Pacino character. He's the cop, and he's chasing a crew who wants to rob the Federal Reserve. O'Shea Jackson Jr. is part of that crew. So this film, Den of Thieves 2, instead of them going at it again, Gerard Butler says, you know what? I'm sick of being a cop and not making any money. I want in. And so he partners with O'Shea Jackson Jr. to rob this diamond exchange in Monte Carlo or somewhere. And basically it's, the impossible building to break in and how will they do it. And so, it's all very, the Italian Job meets Heat meets, whatever. And so, of course, these guys, well, they used to, be, chasing each other, and are they going to be able to work together? And so, no review, no score on Rotten Tomatoes yet. So I don't know if anybody's seen it. But I will say I watched the first one the other day. I was like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. And it was entertaining. I mean, it's not Heat, but, but it's entertaining. So...
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's well shot. It's a big budget kind of action, like a thriller. O'Shea Jackson, who I like as a person, but I'm on the fence with as far as him and as an actor. Obviously, he made his debut in Straight Outta Compton playing his father. There was nobody better.
Yeah,
because he looks just like his dad.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the media circuit, and he's a wrestling fan too. So there's things, like I said, as a person, I'm like, all right. Physically, though, he's like letting himself go, and it's like, look, if you want to be like a Hollywood actor, there's just bare minimums you got to do. And that's like one bare minimum. Don't look like you don't try at all. You know what I'm saying? You're not Johnny Depp, bro. You know what I mean? Put in a little effort, especially if you're doing like fast paced action films where you're some kind of badass. They're not going to believe that. You know what I mean?
Well, and this is the void that we have because we've raised a whole generation of people that cannot live without a Fast and Furious movie every 12 months, right?
Yeah.
So this is that same energy, okay? And so clearly the marketing folks are like, oh, add another car race, a car chase in it. So, yeah, I think, this one, it's fine, right? January, we've all talked about this. January is always the dumping ground for stuff.
Yeah.
So this is one of those films. They rushed into production. But also, to be fair, Last Showgirl did open other parts of the country before now because it's an awards contender. We just don't get stuff sometimes till January. So it's not all garbage, but this is sort of in that, hey, if you wait couple weeks, it'll probably be streaming.
Yeah, well, yesterday we talked about Pamela Anderson basically resurrecting her career in The Last Showgirl. So if you want to see a serious movie and you're a fan of Pamela Anderson, that. If you're jonesing for Fast and Furious 47, like Rico is, then you're going to go see Den of Thieves too.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, Herb Stratford. Thanks for coming in. Let's keep the conversation moving. Be back with more right after this. Rock 102.1 KFMA.
I hear they're stealing cars in the new.
Oh, I wasn't done editing,
Cut it off.
Yeah, I was like trying to wrap it up. Oh, it was like 6 minutes. But okay, keep going. You hear they're stealing cars? What?
He's ruined my momentum.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just stealing cars in the new Fast and Furious movie.
Oh,
see, the joke didn't land so well.
All right.
Because I already did the sign off. That's why I was like,
the
timing. Yeah. All right, I got that. But sorry, but yeah, that's it.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Next time, throw number one up. And I know that you got a joke coming.
Just do this.
No, you just do one. Just do one. I'm looking at Red Hulk right now. What the fuck is this, dude?
Oh yeah, Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the Captain America movie. There's the Superman movie.
Oh, so all these trailers for 2025. In fact, actually, I do have a list that I want to share with you real quick of most anticipated films 2025. And you just let me know if you got a little bit of buzz on any of these, or heard a little bit of buzz.
Okay.
All right, so pulling it up here. Okay, first, what do you know about You're Cordially Invited, starring Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon?
So it basically is the story of two different families that are trying to have weddings for their daughter, and they book the same place and they screw up and it's double booked. And so it's Will Ferrell sort of versus Reese Witherspoon in sort of a battle.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say that one seems interesting, but the new Amy Schumer Kind of Pregnant looks much funnier to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Kind of Pregnant?
She's pretending to be pregnant.
Okay, so her joke is that she's bigger, and so she pretends to be pregnant to get empathy,
To get sympathy,
instead of
yeah.
being looked at like a fat,
Yeah.
right off the bat. I got the premise, and that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's on Netflix in February. Anyway.
All right, Captain America: Brave New World. Any buzz on this?
Of course, this is Harrison Ford playing. He plays the role that I'm trying to think.
The Red Hulk.
Red Hulk.
Well, but the character, the actual
Ross.
General Ross? General Ross.
Why'd they replace the last one?
He's dead.
Okay. Well, then probably a good call. But I mean, why cast Harrison? Because I don't know how many sequels he's got in him after this.
He's 82, so
And
yeah.
he's a grumpy old dude.
He is a very
He's a good
grumpy
Hulk.
guy.
Yeah.
So the buzz is strong on this one. Everybody's been very excited about the trailer. It's Anthony Mackie taking over sort of fully the role of Captain America. Although now the rumor is, of course.
Hold on. We're back on the air. I'm sorry. I see that. Rock 102.1 KFMA. It's Herb Stratford, and we were talking about anticipated movies of 2025. Captain America: Brave New World. What's the rumor?
Well, it's interesting because Anthony Mackie is taking over the role of Captain America.
Yeah.
And then we just heard Chris Evans is going to be in one of the next Avengers movies, and the big question is who is he going to play? Because we've done all this sort of swapping, right, with Robert Downey being Dr. Doom in the Fantastic Four movie. Is this going to be more of a multiverse thing where Captain America is Bucky? You know what I mean? Or Chris Evans is Bucky, or who would he be, right? Because he can't be Captain America. He aged out, right? We all saw at the end of Avengers Endgame, he was, in his 70s or whatever.
Yeah, he was old. Well, it looked over 100, but
Yeah.
I mean, can you have a different... can you have Chris Evans in a movie and not be Captain America in the Marvel
I'd
Universe?
say the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that. I mean, he's behind a mask, so it might be a little easier, but...
Well, okay. I mean, honestly, I guess that is the argument, because if Robert Downey Jr. could do it, I'm sure Chris Evans' agent is saying, well, if Bob could do it, then Chris can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So...
Give me some of that sweet paper. Absolutely, man.
See, we've got a random phone call. Let's see what this is real quick. Rock 102.1, what's your name?
Hello, this is UGS.
Awesome. I'm so glad I interrupted the conversation. All right. Well, then let's talk about, since we're on the superhero kick, I'm hearing a lot of great buzz about Superman. In fact, actually, I heard the comparison, which is low-hanging fruit, reminiscent of the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
Of course, this one is written and directed by James Gunn, so that's not too far of a reach. But what are you hearing about the new Superman?
I'm hearing that the stakes couldn't be higher just because, as we all know, DC is in this sort of flat spin. They've got to find some IP that's going to work, and this is really the first sort of thing out of the gate from Gunn and Peter Seraphine, sort of the co-heads of the DC universe, and it'll be interesting to see how they can juggle because they've got a lot of people in this movie, right? There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of villains, there's a lot of people to introduce. The thing that I think that's really smart about this that Gunn has done is he said, you know what? We're not doing the origin story, right?
Yes,
it's
Batman
been done to death.
And Superman, right?
Yeah.
Good.
He's like, everybody already knows Superman. He's in our world. We're used to him. This is another story. And I think that's good because I hate this reinventing this every single time we've got a superhero.
Yeah, because then you have to go through the judge of just like, okay, how you going to do that? Okay, yes,
Because
got
he
it.
didn't even tell his real story until the second movie at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get
So
right.
just jump right into the deep end, which is a smart move. And, James Gunn is a smart guy, and he knows that. And I've said for a couple years now, if anyone's going to save the DC universe, it's James Gunn. I made this prediction. Beastradamus.
Well, and the question just is, how are the fanboys going to respond? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, because the toxic fandom of Star Wars has really sort of put a blemish on that whole thing because the way they treat IP that comes out. And so will the DC fans give him a chance?
I'll ask Emil, because I consider you a fan, not necessarily a fanboy, but very knowledgeable of it and stuff.
A fan man.
Yeah, as a fan man. He's a fan man wonder. I mean, he literally was named the boy wonder. But, I mean, what do you think with this Superman? Are you excited as a fan, or are you just over
Part of me,
it?
because I'm excited for a new Superman movie to come out finally. It's been a long time. You know what? I can't really get into the actor that's playing him for some reason.
His face is weird.
His face and the costume I don't really like either.
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like this is probably going to be a good story. And they're bringing in Crypto the dog, too, which is kind of a new addition to this whole Superman world.
It is. It's so weird. I know. I don't like crypto.
I don't either, but I can see how it's going to play in as something fresh. I don't like it either. And, like, honestly, the trailer seeing him, like, beaten up in the beginning,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really
Come on,
like that,
crypto.
dude.
Save me, crypto.
I'm like,
Shut up.
You're Superman. Come
Yeah,
on,
dude.
So I get it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know, and that's the reason why it's included is for moms out there to bring their kids and say, "I'm coming for the dog." You know.
We also have dog crypto toys now to buy for your kids.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
merchandising.
It's all about marketing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm unhappy about that, at least I'm happy that The Rock isn't voicing crypto this time around, and that's good.
Yes,
so
thank you.
We're keeping the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast, youtube.com/PFegan. And more with Herb Stratford and the crew right after this. Rock 102.1. Yeah, so we already had this discussion. I was like, oh no, crypto. I'll end up loving, because, creatures, animals. I mean, I was seeing screenshots like Hawk Girl and Lex Luthor looks like that's going to be great. So
I love that guy for Lex Luthor.
yeah, and I just, look, I'm going to go in as a full-blown believer and supporter of James Gunn because obviously he's not going to half-ass this. He knows how much is riding on, the signature, the anchor character of the DC. If you don't get Superman right,
Yeah, it's over.
it's over. Even though Batman is always good to go to, but, it's still kind of in Matt Reeves' world,
It
right?
is, and it's going to be another 2 years till we get the next Batman
Second
movie.
one, yeah.
So
really?
yeah, they pushed it back. But no, I'm with you, Emil. David Cornsweet, I think, is the guy's name, and it's just there's something weird about it.
His
it's like he was
face.
created in a lab.
I feel
don't
like
know.
already he's just a clone of all the other Supermen put together.
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher Reeve still to me is pretty perfect.
Oh, amen. You're right,
You know?
he is, and like that's why I like Brandon Ruth.
Yes.
because I was like, he feels like Christopher
Yes.
Reeve.
Yes.
Yes.
Even Henry Cavill,
Cavill,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, he built for the Superman role, but this guy, for some reason, I'm just kind of like, it's just not hitting those buttons, I guess. But I guess
Yeah.
we'll see.
I mean,
like
what a
clay.
tough role to cast, though. You know what I mean?
Totally,
It's just
yeah.
like
Almost
you
impossible.
can't do anybody that anybody knows, right? You
Right,
know? I mean,
yeah.
that's why it worked for Reeve. He was almost unknown when he did that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was just like a stage actor. I just watched his documentary.
Isn't that good?
It is a good
It's very
documentary.
sad.
It
though.
is a sad documentary.
It's very sad.
Yeah, and he was still kind of. I mean, he was resentful for even just being in that position, but he did live a life of privilege.
Well, I think what's interesting too is when you watch that movie, and then if you go back, I don't know if you ever watched the Michael J. Fox documentary, but
Not
it's
yet.
just like that guy. What an inspiration! I mean, he just like his outlook on life is just absolutely remarkable. I mean, at one point he's walking down the street and he just completely wipes out just because because of the Parkinson's, right? I mean, the muscle control, and he's just like, no, and I mean, they're filming, and like he's got a guy that sort of helps him, and he's like, no, and he like gets up, you know what I mean? He's just not about
Making it a big deal.
well, and also just not relying on anybody. He's just like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and yeah, I broke my arm because I fell down. You know what I mean? It's just
Wow.
like it's amazing. It's an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, it's on Apple TV.
All right, yeah, and I don't have Apple TV, that's why I haven't seen it. Something I did, and this might surprise you, but something I did grow up watching. Probably helped, like, kind of
Family
mold
Ties?
mold the character I am. I watched a little bit of Family Ties, but I was really into Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Oh, all right, here we
so
go.
I'm actually excited about this show that's happening on Netflix. Is this being released this weekend?
It is. It's two-part documentary series. It's called Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action.
See what they did there?
Perfect, right?
We've been doing a lot of puns today, and this is we're on par.
it's really so. What's so interesting to me is Jerry was like legit. He was the mayor of Cincinnati. He was a news guy. He was like an anchor on a TV station for a long time, and then he sort of fell into this, and he was really the kind of guy where he would show up and they'd hand him the show sheet, right? Like he was not involved in recruiting guests. He was not involved in much. So this is really a story of the two sides of the show. The one side is sort of him, but the other side is his producers, who frankly were evil. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean these guys, and there's this thing called like the Bermuda Triangle of where they got the guests, and it was like the Deep South.
Oh,
Yes.
totally.
Right? It was like
yeah.
90% of their guests came from the same area because they're all crazy, right? And I mean, and the problem with this show, and I'm going to sound like a snob, but I never watched a single episode, maybe just because when it was on and
You
where I was in
goddamn
my
snob.
life. Yeah. But I mean, I will say I found this very riveting, and the thing is, at one point he beat Oprah. Like that was a big deal for, and also it's the beginning of trash TV and sort of the end of American civilization. But
America in the 90s was Girls Gone Wild, Jerry Springer, Trash TV, WWE Raw. Like, we were Jerry Springer country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because at the end of the day, these producers did a horrible disservice to these people who really needed help.
Yes.
And they would like bring them in, juice them up on coffee, whatever, and then basically not even get them back to the airport. I mean, it was just like, they would
Really? Just like on your own?
all they wanted was just the chair, the punches, the chair throwing. That's all they wanted because it was ratings. And then it became this monster, this beast that they had to keep feeding by getting more and more and more outrageous. Yeah. Oh, you're pregnant with my Nazi love baby. I mean, just crazy stuff. But that's like World Weekly News, right?
Yeah.
Remember, sensationalism sold.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting deep dive into that world because it really kicked off everything. I mean, this was the beginning of the end.
And I actually know somebody personally who was on the Jerry Springer show. My friend Brandy, she did the show with me up in Phoenix for a little bit, but Brandy was a special person. She was a little slower, right? Sweetheart of a woman, right? But at first glance, you're like, woman, so she was she could have easily been from the Bermuda Triangle that you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like her. And I want to say this as respectfully as possible because, I love Brandy, but, generational white trash kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So it's part of that system. So she signed up for the Jerry Springer show. She was in this kind of like love triangle-ish, right? She said backstage, the producers prodded her and got her so amped up on purpose to go out there, and first thing they wanted her to do was to swing on somebody.
Yeah.
So they're like, they're backstage saying, "Did you hear what she said about you? That she called you stupid. She called you ugly. She
Egging
called you
them
fat.
on.
She called you she's saying all these things to get to the point where and Brandy's so like even keeled, even nature, like very a sweet soul. But they did
got
this
to her.
psychological warfare to kind of like get her so it's such in a place that when she went out there, she just let it
Let it fly.
Yeah. And didn't swing well. She was not fast by any nature and stuff like that. And it wasn't necessarily the highlight of Jerry Springer's career, but to kind of hear the behind the scenes of everything that they did.
Right.
It was so much manipulation that she felt dirty for even being a fan of it,
Yeah, and they sort of, one of the bookends of this is they talked to a guy whose mother was on the show as part of a love triangle, and how it just sort of wrecked her life.
I can
Yeah.
imagine.
I mean,
Wow.
it's just really, she never really recovered, and how horrible they treated her. And I mean, it's an interesting thing to watch. You do feel a little dirty watching it, but
So do they look at this look of evil on Jerry Springer's face? So do they villain? I mean, Jerry Springer is no longer around, and he did have a pretty impressive career, not just on television, but he was the mayor of Ohio. Then he had to step down because of a prostitution scandal. The guy lived a life.
oh yeah.
But with that, do they vilify him, or do they say it's the producers, but this guy's okay?
No, they air a little bit of his dirty laundry. They definitely do. But they sort of gloss over it a little bit, and then they go right back to the producers. You know what I mean? So they're demonstrating that he's not, he was not completely innocent or completely, but the producers were running that show. There's no question about it. He was just the talent, and he almost didn't even know what was going on until he walked on set. So it's very interesting.
What about Steve?
Steve
the bodyguard, man.
Oh.
The former cop. He had his own show for a little bit too until
Wilco's.
he had a scandal and they had to cancel his ass.
That's right. I forgot about his
Yes.
I don't even think they talk about Steve.
That's crazy that they don't even talk about Steve.
Yeah.
He was the big bald white enforcer who got his own show
That's
because
the
everyone
next
likes
show.
Steve.
That's the next documentary.
Yeah, well, because it was a continuation of all that,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That's scary. All right. Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're back on the air. Only got a couple minutes before we have to wrap things up. We just talked about the Jerry Springer documentary that's coming to Netflix. That is crazy. So it's definitely something to look forward to. We got American Primeval.
This series, this is one of my favorite things. It's so great. It's 1857. It's America. It's a battle between the U.S. government, the Mormons, right, in Utah, and the Native American people. And it's just this hot mess of all these crazy people. Taylor Kitsch is the lead. Betty Gilpin is great. Dane DeHaan, Shea Wiggum, fantastic cast. I think it's about 6 or 7 episodes. It is amazing. It's the team that brought us The Revenant with Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is so authentic, so gritty. This is what Costner's whatever that thing he's trying to do, Horizon.
Yeah.
It's what you hoped he would do.
Yeah.
That's all melodrama. This is all grit.
Wow.
And
Is
it's
this based off a
amazing.
true story?
No. I mean, I think it's based on the fact that the Mormons did come in and kind of cause havoc in Utah, but I mean, nothing specific. And what's his name? The main Mormon guy. What's the Joseph
John
Smith?
or Joe Smith?
Yeah, I mean, so they're based on, their real characters are in this, but it's not. I'm sure the Mormons. I said to my wife when we watched this, I'm like, the Mormons are going to be suing to stop this thing. I mean, they are villainized, and I'm not going to say anything. So anyway, it's very, very good. It's on Netflix. Definitely worth checking out. It's called American Primeval.
And that's out right now, which is fantastic. It gives me Red Dead vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of makes me want to watch that. Well,
Always happy for a new Western.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Well, loved having you in as always, Herb. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page when you get a chance, youtube.com/beefvegan. Follow us on social media, and we'll stalk you back. And until then, Robin Nash is up next. Tomorrow morning, we'll continue to give away tickets for AWOL Nation. Slobby Robbie will be live in studio, and Valdez. But that's it. All right. So thank you, Mari. Thank you, Emil. Thank you, Herb.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone else, for listening. Drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
When you wish upon a
a
side
good way
of
to end.
beef Soon will come an end to all your grief.
I guess.
But if you've been mean or kind of bad,
Babushki.
I will knock out all your teeth.